Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus, Absurdity, Rebellion, and the Search for Meaning. We wake up, we work, we eat, we sleep. The rhythm of our lives, a silent metronome, marking time without a purpose we can truly grasp. We fill the days with tasks, with distractions, with the endless humming noise of progress. And yet, in the quiet moments, standing at a window, watching the rain fall, or lying awake at night, a peculiar and unsettling thought whispers to us, "What is this all for? Is there a reason for this relentless journey?" The universe offers no answers. It meets our cry for meaning with an indifferent silence. This is the great silent conflict of being human. This is the absurd. We are not here to talk about the silence itself. We are here to speak with the man who taught us how to live with it, and even how to find a kind of strange freedom in its face. A writer who saw in the endless toil of a mythical figure not a punishment, but a radical act of defiance. Albert Camus was born in French Algeria in 1913 into a life of stark poverty and hardship. His father, a vineyard worker, died in World War I when he was just a baby. He was raised by his illiterate mother, and his early life was shaped by both the vibrant sun of Algiers and the constant struggle to survive. A brilliant student, he pursued philosophy at the University of Algiers, only for his studies to be cut short by a debilitating case of tuberculosis. This brush with mortality ignited a powerful consciousness of life's fragility and injustice. He became a journalist, a playwright, and an influential voice in the French resistance during World War II, a time when the world itself seemed to descend into chaos. While he was often grouped with the existentialists, he rejected the label, preferring to be a voice for humanity and rebellion against injustice. His famous works, The Stranger and The Plague, would cement his place as a literary giant of the 20th century. But it was in his philosophical essay, 1942's The Myth of Sisyphus, that Camus gave a name to the central crisis of modern life and offered a path forward that was both bleak and breathtakingly optimistic. In this imagined conversation, we will explore the core ideas from Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus, a book that tackles the most profound question of all: is life worth living? Camus argues that we must confront the absurd, the fundamental conflict between our human longing for meaning and the universe's unwavering meaninglessness. Instead of turning to religion, suicide, or philosophical escapism, he proposes a third, courageous way: rebellion. We will ask him about this path. What does it mean to live with the absurd, without hope? How can we find a sense of freedom and passion in a world that offers no intrinsic purpose? And in the story of Sisyphus, condemned to eternally push a boulder up a mountain, what can we learn about true happiness? So prepare to meet a man who saw the ultimate human struggle not as a curse, but as an opportunity.
Mr. Camus, your philosophy begins with the concept of the absurd. Could you explain what this means to you?
The absurd is a feeling that arises from a specific confrontation. It is not in man, and it is not in the universe. It is in the collision between man's fundamental need for meaning and the universe's absolute majestic silence. It's the moment we realize we are strangers in a world that offers no inherent purpose.
Was this a new realization for you, or do you believe humanity has always experienced this clash?
The feeling has always been there, but perhaps we have found new ways to ignore it. The modern age has simply stripped away many of the old illusions, the grand narratives of religion, history, and progress that once offered comfort. In a world without those guiding myths, the face of the absurd becomes much clearer.
You outline 3 possible responses to the absurd: suicide, philosophical suicide, and rebellion. Let's start with suicide. Why do you reject it?
Suicide is a kind of capitulation. It is an admission that the absurd is unbearable, that life is not worth living. But to me, this is a flawed response. It is not a triumph over the absurd, but a surrender to it. It simply ends the confrontation without resolving it.
And what about philosophical suicide? What does that entail, and why do you find it equally unconvincing?
Philosophical suicide is the act of leaping to a comforting, transcendent belief, be it in a higher power, a grand historical purpose, or a universal meaning that is not supported by reason. It is an escape. One denies the absurd by believing in something that negates it. It is an act of intellectual dishonesty, a flight from the very tension that makes us human.
So your proposed response is rebellion. What does it mean to rebel against the absurd?
To rebel is to live fully aware of the absurd, without hope for a higher meaning. It means not running from the confrontation, but embracing it. Rebellion is a constant refusal to accept the universe's indifference. It is our assertion of value in a world that has no inherent values. It is a declaration of our dignity.
You say that living with the absurd requires a certain kind of freedom. What is this freedom?
It is the freedom of being unburdened. When we give up hope for an afterlife or a greater purpose, we are liberated to live this life, here and now, with no strings attached. We are free from the weight of eternal consequence. The only value that matters is the value we create ourselves in every moment.
Now let's turn to the figure who gives your book its name, Sisyphus. Why did you choose him as the symbol of the absurd hero?
Sisyphus is the perfect hero because his punishment is a metaphor for the human condition. He is condemned to a useless, hopeless toil, to eternally push a boulder up a mountain only to watch it roll back down. His is a life without purpose, a continuous cycle. It is absurd.
Yet, you famously write that we must imagine Sisyphus happy. How is that possible?
He is happy in the moment of his descent. He is consciously aware of his fate, and in that awareness, he is its master. His disdain for his punishment, his scorn for the gods, is a form of triumph. His struggle itself is enough. His joy comes not from the achievement of a goal, but from the full, conscious living of the struggle itself. He is a rebel who finds his humanity in his defiance.
So, in the end, your philosophy is not one of despair, but of life affirmation.
Exactly. The absurd is not an endpoint, it is a beginning. It is the raw material from which we can forge a passionate, free, and conscious life. The point is not to escape the absurd, but to live it to its fullest.
Mr. Camus, if you were to observe the modern world, filled with endless digital tasks, social media performance, and the pursuit of productivity, would you find Sisyphus there?
I would see him everywhere. The man who scrolls an infinite feed, the woman who checks her emails late into the night, the worker who produces things that feel hollow, all are pushing their own boulders. But the true question is whether they, like Sisyphus, are doing it with awareness. The danger of today's world is that we do the work of Sisyphus without his conscious rebellion. We lose ourselves in the rhythm and forget to ask why.
Albert Camus, in his short life, gave us a great gift. He showed us that the absence of a divine plan or a cosmic destiny is not a cause for despair. Instead, it is the ultimate liberation.
He took the ugliest truth about our existence, its inherent meaninglessness, and turned it into the most beautiful freedom. We are all Sisyphus, pushing our boulders. But Camus' defiant message is that we have a choice in the face of this eternal return. We can surrender to the rock's weight, or we can embrace the struggle, find our joy in the act of pushing, and declare our own meaning. His call to rebellion is a call to live intensely, to embrace each moment, and to love this life without reservation, simply for the sake of living it. And so we must.